Hello everyone, and welcome to Truly Bedrock Season 4. This is episode 13. How's everybody doing? I'm doing great. Now behind me is what we did in the last episode. We did make this little mushroom amongst the rest of the chaos on the Chaos Hill. And I do have more plans, and it looks like I need to replace a couple of blocks. For this build, I do have plans of adding a couple of little mushrooms maybe staggered around this thing. And there's a bunch of stuff that I want to do underneath here. Maybe even leading up to the base. But for today, that's not what we're going to work on. Nope. Now, I hope everybody had a great weekend and you all enjoyed the stream weekend. Unfortunately, I was unable to participate. Because as things go, when we were scheduling the stream day originally, I was going to be able to stream anytime on Saturday and early on Sunday. And then, of course, as I was getting ready to fill my names out, or my name out on the little spreadsheet thing that we have, I found out that I was going out of town for work. It was supposed to be 2 days worth of driving and 3 days worth of work. I didn't think it was going to be worth unhooking the computer and hauling all the way down there just for a couple of days to unplug it, haul it all the way back home, and replug it in. So I opted not to, and that actually worked out in my favor because it ended up being 2 days worth of work and 2 days worth of driving. So my computer would have spent time in a backpack, potentially getting broke, and yeah. We opted not to do that, so I was unable to participate in stream weekend. Now, coming back onto the server after being gone for a few days, because I haven't been on the server pretty much since about 3 days or 4 days since the last episode came out, which was Thursday, so it was a week ago from the day of this recording. Last time I was on the server. But, you know, we completed this room down here, if I could use my elevators properly. This room is rather complete, right? It's got a ceiling, it's got a floor, it's got walls, it's got things happening. I know that we still have to get some villagers and things like that. But this room is complete. This room still looks temporary. And for the most part, it is. So what I think we're going to do is we are going to work on this room today. One thing I've noticed is we swapped this farm over to honey. And though it produces really good for honeycomb, honey blocks, on the other hand, are relatively slow. Every time one of these beehives harvest, it's a different output depending on what we're actually harvesting. So if we're harvesting honeycomb, this thing actually produces 3 honeycombs per harvest, which is pretty nice, and we can get honeycombs quite a bit. If it's harvesting honey bottles, we only get one single. So every time this thing harvests, we will get 4 honey bottles, making honey a little bit harder to come by than honeycomb. We've got quite a bit of honeycomb sitting up in a chest up there. I took it out of here for AFK purposes. And if I were to have, let's say, these 4 beehives set up with shears, we would be essentially gaining 12 bottles per harvest. So to make the farm that much more efficient with honey, I'm going to need to take this thing and build it 3/4 more, 75% more of what this farm is. So, what I think we're going to do is I think we're going to tear this down. We're going to tear the kelp farms down. And we're going to expand the bee farms. I think I'm going to have a total of 16 hives. We're going to have 4 that harvest honeycombs, and we're going to have 12 that harvest honey. And we are going to run this thing all the time. Now, with my current setup and my bee farm layout here, you do need a lot of bottles inside of this dispenser at all times. We could revamp the entirety of the farm and maybe build a different one. I know there's a few out there that have better like bottle storage than this, so you don't need as many bottles. But I think we're just gonna go ahead and worry about that later. That's a problem for future me. So I think it's time to tear down some stuff. We're gonna leave this bee farm behind us alone for the time being, because these guys are kind of a pain to work with, especially now we have water and there's potential death. So first things first, I need to get in here and I need to clean these up. Well, you should have seen a short little time lapse of us kind of tearing out the old kelp farms and getting this area more or less prepped. And I have. I've got this area dug out and extended. We have 2 more beehives on this side and 2 more on this side. And then, of course, I'm working on this side over here. So my plan is to mess around with a few blocks that I haven't messed around with, like the honeycomb block, and just kind of line this thing. I think that's going to look cool. And then we're going to put a dark block, possibly just regular old, that's not what I wanted, just regular old deep slate like this across the top here. Kind of blocking everything in. I think that's going to look pretty cool once we have the deep slate going up in here. And one thing I need to do is I actually need to find the center, dig myself a little bit of an access panel to get back here. Yep. Rather than having the door like I do here, the access panel is going to work better. So what I want to do is I've snagged a couple of bees out of the beehives and put them in here, out of this section. I'm going to breed these guys up until I have a bunch. There is one little guy here just doing his thing. And then I want to put them inside of this area here. We're going to grab ourselves 24-ish bees, which is quite a bit. Then I will take these 2 breeders and probably place them back in here. Yeah, it's going to be a whole process, but we then need to get ourselves, 12 more bees for this section, and then revamp this. I'm going to tear the hopper lines down. We're going to tear this down. Maybe. This might be the easiest way just to get back and forth into here is just a door. Maybe. But another thing, while I was digging all of this out, and I was prepping this and getting prepared for better and more honey, I came to a realization. I came to a very strong realization of why I've lost honey bottles, why I've lost honeycomb, and it's because I've been tweaking this. Originally, we had some hopper lines right here, and we were trying to force the items to this side with different block spacings and stuff like that. My problem that I have now, I've come to realize, is I don't have glass on me. Let's see. Oh yeah, I do. For whatever reason, it's just not wanting to click there. We'll go over here. Well, that one doesn't... I guess I'm wrong. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I have blocks in front of the dispensers here. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the problem is the hoppers. These are the problem. The items are trying to pop out at the top, and then they just kind of go all wonky. I thought it was because I had a block right here in front of the dispenser. Why is that block just being super weird? Ah, I used a different colored glass. This is white versus gray. So yes, work is being done. I'm going to finish up this side. We've got a lot of bee breeding to do to get it working, but everything is going to be great. The one thing that I am going to be slightly lacking is the glass bottles that I need for this side. This thing is going to use a lot of glass bottles. We're going to put the shears over on probably these two on this side and the other two on that side. We'll just leave these guys with glass bottles. But again, I do need a way to get in here so that I can check these different dispensers and stuff. Now, as I sat here breeding bees, I figured I would bring you guys in and talk just for a second. As I'm sure some of you know that there is a little bit better way to do the bees over here. We're giving a little... I'm getting the bees ready for this side, and as you can see, we've got the farms all done. I've extended the collection, I've extended the farm out. This was the other side that was just doing the 4 farms. I do need to get the shears inside of these dispensers here, and this side is working very well as we just kind of hang out in here and do some things. And I've started doing a little bit of decoration. We're going up. We're going down. If I can get in the hole. There we go. And I like the way this is kind of turning out. But there is an easier way to do this. You can skinny this farm up and have, you know, single slices of beehives and have like droppers above these dispensers and a minecart that you put bottles in and it runs across on a timer, and you can make the process of getting honey a lot more efficient and not worrying about so much bottle needing, right? Which we did fill all of these. They're all full. Yep. We did do that as well. But, like with everybody else when the Buzzy Bee update came out, I made a tutorial. I made a farm, I played around with the bees and things like that, and I really like my design. I came up with it, it's very unique. I haven't seen other designs much like it. Not saying that it's the only design out there that uses the comparators locking and stuff like that. I'm just saying that it's unique. And I haven't seen it. That doesn't mean you guys haven't seen it, right? So, because of that, we're going to stick with our design. It's mine. It's worked since the Buzzy Bee update. It's worked through every update thus far. And though it's not as compact as it could be, it is a fairly compact farm. You can take this 3 block right here is a slice. You could move this 3 block over so that you had 2 beehives touching here. You'd have to rewire the back end just a little bit, but not major. And that would skinny this up by 1, 2, 3 blocks. But I'm not too worried about it. I like what's going on here. I like what's going on here. And this side just needs more bees, and it needs some shears. Now, the next thing that I'm going to work on whilst breeding bees and kind of just hanging out here is I want to put in some kind of nether wart farm. As you can see, we've got a platform up here. I've begun to dug out another platform down here, and I think I'm going to do 3 layers. Maybe more, we'll see. But yes, we're going to do some nether wart stuff. Bees actually breed up relatively fast, so this doesn't take a long time. I've already bred the 24 bees for this side, and I have myself exactly 24 flowers so that I can breed 12 of these guys. And I have my breeding pair set up on some leads so that I can come out of this area here holding the flower, and I will be able to lead my other bees over into this section, which is very nice. And I don't know if I'm going to leave these guys in here or not, the breeding pair rather. I do like having this, but I don't know what else we would use bees for. So yeah, we're going to keep breeding bees. Now, there are many different ways we could farm the nether wart that we are planning for our base area. And if you guys remember this is from Season 1 of Truly Bedrock, and I actually built an AFK-able nether wart farm. This thing had, I removed the water that was in here, but this thing had some timers that you sat at like this. It would push you through to the next timer down there, and then eventually you would make your way inside of the farm itself, which I have since destroyed. But anyway, you would come out right here. You will be in a water stream, holding down right click, and you would just plant nether wart. Now, the neat thing about this farm, and obviously the pistons have kind of moved, these would be facing forward to break the nether wart, is the nether wart would pop off in this water stream as well, and there would be some hoppers here like there are here, with some pressure plates. And what you would be doing is the nether wart would come down and stop right here on the pressure plate. This hopper would essentially be locked. You would collect the nether wart and refill your inventory. So what you would want to do is you'd want to have all of your inventory full of blocks and leave one space for nether wart. And that would fill you up here, and then stepping on this would move the pistons and the items would be collected, and then you would just go back and forth down this farm, and you would literally sit like this. There you go, that's a good animation. The nether wart would come off and be sitting right here. You would pick it up. This piston fire, or this pressure plate fires these pistons. This pressure plate right here moves the collection, or the redstone block to unlock this hopper for collection, and so on and so forth. And this is a pretty neat farm. The idea came from an old vine farm where you would sit in a water stream like this with shears, and the same thing, you would have your inventory full of items except for your shears, and you would go through the farm collecting vines, and then by the time you got to the end, a little dispenser or dropper or whatever would pop out a new pair of shears to you if you needed them. This farm worked great. It did yield for us some nether warts, but as you can see, I was planning expansion. Because I have two timers that sit over here, and sitting in those timers doesn't do very much for you. You're just wasting time. So I wanted to make this farm a lot bigger. As you can see, this is pretty massive. The thing about nether wart is it drops 2 to 4 pieces of nether wart when harvested manually without fortune. With fortune, it increases every fortune level, yielding up to 7 per harvest. So, the materials that would go into an AFK-able farm like this, in my opinion, is not worth the effort that you spend to gain some nether wart, though this is AFK-able. And I did a tutorial on this thing a long time ago, back when we still played on the Xbox, which is this world. I played on Xbox 100%. It's pretty crazy. There is one other way that you can semi-automate the growing and farming of nether wart, and that's this little farm right here. You could have some platforms with some alternating areas, as you see here. And you can have some dispensers up at the top where you push a button and all of your nether wart gets harvested with water, and gets flushed out, obviously you would have some of this closed off so that this doesn't happen. Water can be pulled back in. You can come along here and gain all of your nether wart from in front of the trapdoors here, which we gained a little bit from this. And then you can simply plant it back, and you can expand this out, and it can be bigger and bigger and bigger as much as you want, realistically. But again, you're AFKing for a decent amount of stuff, and the way I figure it is I'm going to be AFK. That's interesting. I'm going to be AFK anyway, doing my thing with, you know, bee farms and stuff like that, so this isn't really worth me sitting by and doing and planting and working on. I think it's going to be a lot better to use some kind of tool with fortune on it, getting a bunch of nether wart and negating all of this excess stuff. We can just simply have 3 platforms as big as we want to and mine the nether wart. Over here, I have a little bit of a showing, because we have this block right here in the game called an observer. You guys know what that is, right? Right? I mean, come on, I know you guys know. And I know you guys are a lot smarter than me, because you know how I know this? I just found out that if you have your mushrooms and you have some flowers, let's say these, and we get a bowl. I didn't know this, but you can actually craft suspicious stew. I just found this out. I know that you can get this from trading with villagers, and I know you can get this from feeding flowers to brown mushrooms. I put this up in Discord and stuff, and you guys were like, yeah, you can do that. That's a thing. I didn't know. You guys are better at Minecraft than I am. But I do know something. I've been watching this little bit of stuff right here for a very long time. Most crops have 4 growth stages, and every time they grow, the observer does detect this block state change, because that's what an observer does. If we were to place a piece of soul sand here, it's going to read it, and if we break it, it's going to read it. We utilize this for things like sugarcane farms and bamboo farms, which is really neat. This observer also detects the growth of all of these crops here: beetroot, wheat, carrots, and potatoes. You saw it go off there. There it goes during a growth stage. We'll go ahead and change all of these out. There's growth stage pulse, and we could utilize this to actually auto-harvest this stuff if we wanted to. We could set up a dropper and a hopper with 4 items in it, because these have 4 growth stages. Every time that this is pulsed, it shoots an item up, and then after the 4th time, when the dispenser, or I'm sorry, dropper would be empty, it could then fire a pulse, pushing a piston, harvesting this. It's a neat little nano farm. It's kind of what nano farms are. Well, they use bone meal, but anyway, this would be a decent little farm that we could do. The weird thing is, nether wart is only detected when planted and when harvested. It does not detect growth state, which is rather annoying. If this thing would fully grow, we could see that. We do have our random tick speed up, obviously, that's why this stuff is growing so fast, but yeah, when we harvest it, when we plant it, it's detected. When this grows, nothing is detected, and that's unfortunate. So auto harvesting nether wart can be done, but it is also very, very tricky. Yep, there grows no growth state. So the better way for us to harvest this is going to be, in my opinion, with a fortune pickaxe or a fortune tool. Now, we are actually in a Java world right now because I wanted to show this off. Java actually has a feature that Bedrock does not, and that is observers actually do detect the growth of Nether wart. As you can see, it detects the growth stages. So Nether wart has 4 growth stages. It is detected via an observer like the rest of the crops are. So if we were playing on Java Edition, well, we could automatically harvest Nether wart in this way. Unfortunately, we don't play on Java, we're playing on Bedrock, so our options are limited. And just a side note, Java is not icky. It is also Minecraft. I was getting ready to show you guys, the farm and everything else after our little whirlwind of talking about Nether wart, and I saw this. So let's go check this out real quick. What is this? Oh. Welcome to Lucky Block. Read me. Pretty simple stuff. Basically, you put 5 diamonds in the chest next to you, and you get to break a shulker box in this room and keep the shulker and all that's inside. You are not allowed to swap the shulkers. Once you break a shulker, you own it. You're not allowed to look at what's inside before picking. Have fun. There is some good stuff in these boxes, but there's also bad too, so test your luck. Okay. Let's try it. We did have some diamonds on us, and I think we're gonna pick this one. Oh, I got, ooh, that's nice. We got 25 gold ingots and 2 netherite. That's, oh, nope, we gotta go away because I have like barely any diamonds. Oh, I have barely any diamonds left as it is. Ooh, and that is addicting. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Let's throw this guy right here to remember that it's there. And the reason that I have so little diamonds is because I went to Tiz's base and actually bought some shulkers, and we bought all of the glass that we needed to make all of the bottles for our bee farm. And the bee farms themselves are done. I really, really like the way this turned out. I think it looks cool. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this similar build right here, but with nether wart stuff, right? But I need to go get some nether wart blocks, and I have a little bit of red nether brick and maybe some redstone in here. I don't know. I think this will work out pretty good. But I've got 3 layers of a nether wart farm, and this produces about 18 stacks of nether wart after you replant. So that is why we're going to stick to the fortune as opposed to any other method that we've shown. I have replenished my supply of nether wart up in the base, and I'm going to start filling this chest. Now you guys might be asking yourself, why do I need so much nether wart? Zap, why do you need this much nether wart? Because the average player is going to need some nether wart for maybe brewing some potions, maybe some red nether brick, but it's a lot of work to use such a gorgeous block, right? I mean, come on, this block is absolutely gorgeous. Is it not? And to answer that question very, very simply, why do I need so much nether wart? Well, I don't. I don't need half of this nether wart. But our fellow server mate that is actually online at the moment, Mr. ZloyXP here, does. And that is why I built this farm. I seen a tweet where he's planning a pretty massive build, and it is going to be using red nether brick. So I figured, what better way to kind of integrate into this area another farm, but to do a nether wart farm. Still don't know 100% what I'm gonna do over here. I might actually keep the apiary setup that we have here and maybe do some testing with getting bees for other things. Other than farming honey and stuff like that, we can use them for crop farms. I don't know. It's all up in the air right now. Oh, and you also may be wondering why this is here. This is here because this farm was not working, and I thought that I had built it in the southern location, but actually this is the south. This is the north of my base. My base actually faced east to watch the sunrise and the moonrise. It's all by design. What I did was I forgot to actually click all of these comparators into subtract mode. I did. And now it's fixed. And we got ourselves a nice little entryway into the back of both of these farms via these doors. It's really nice. We've got the little levers sitting here that are powering our collection. And as you guys can see, we're getting some honey. We've got quite a bit over here. 4 stacks plus a bit. We've got quite a bit of honeycomb over here, and I think we're going to do a nice AFK session and get ourselves even more. Break, dude. But I do believe that we are currently out of recording time. So a lot of work went into these different builds here, which is why a video did not go out Thursday. Today is Saturday, and I'm probably going to release this as soon as I'm done recording, editing, and rendering. I do apologize for the lack of release, but we were out of town, like I said. Didn't take the computer with us, so we had to make do. And this was my next project, this was my next plan, and it took a little longer than expected, so I apologize, but nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you guys did, you know the routine. Please leave a like, comment, consider subscribing. Check the description down below for all the different ways to follow me. There's a link to all things Truly Bedrock as well as all the other members' YouTube channels, so go check them out if you want to. A lot of great stuff over there, better stuff, much better stuff than what we're doing over here. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.